And welcome into the Bobby Carpenter Show. We got my guy Anthony Schlegel out here. We've got a day of practice in the bag. Schlegel was a dual site practice coming down to a little outside. And then about period 8, the rain was apparently closing in. And by the time I got to my car after team teach period, it was pouring. So I think they were correct in doing what they did. Moved everybody inside. Did a pretty darn good job with it. And it was an interesting first practice, I would say, just given Ryan's running the two fields. And so if you want to break down a little bit, what I did was for the two fields, I get back and I apex the middle of the two fields and get back far enough that I can see everything, because that's the hardest deal. And they split it up, and we'll talk about how they split all the guys. And interesting because there's different philosophies on that of how you want to do it and what maybe works the best. But they want to get a lot of reps, so they split the fields in half so you can get all your quarterbacks reps, all your young D linemen, all your offensive line. Just you get more reps. They do that for about the first 3 days. Then once you start getting like ultra physical and everything, it's tough. And part of what is going to make it tough will be next year. This year they got some expanded, I guess, leeway. You got 120 guys you can still bring, but once they do the 105, that's going to be bumpy, and you may not be able to do that except for a couple periods here and there. But getting all those reps and what that means for the players, and then also what that implies for the support staff and everything else that goes around it.
Well, it definitely, like the offensive line, they have 3 coaches, and that's where it gets kind of dicey because you're trying to run 4 fields, right? 4 groups on 2 fields, as you would say, Bob.
Yep.
And basically, you have like in the middle of the offense is working and going to the goal line. So it's like everything is in the middle, and then they expand and go outward. And it depends on the looks that you want. And you could divvy this up, right? If you want good on good, it's 1s and 1s, 2s and 2s, 3s and 3s, 4s and 4s. Depends on the depth. Sometimes you'll go 2 fields and you'll go 1s and 1s and kind of 2s, right? Like kind of mixed together, and that's a field. And then I got my other 2s and 3s going on half fields. And there's a variety of different ways, but it's more about what are the fundamentals, what are the base units that we're getting a look at, what are the concepts that we want offensively and defensively versus those looks. And then you have your coaches being able to go in there. And again, it's nice when you have, again, in a supporting role, like a Taver Johnson, right? When we're talking about the offensive line coaches that we have that are extra, it's great to have them. Tyler Bowen probably with the 1s. And then now you can divvy up those other guys to where they go so they can still get coaching. Now, as opposed to just having somebody out there, Keenan Bailey, he's over in a group, and what is he doing? And that's what they're floating all the time. But they always go back and are able to watch the film, and it's just great teaching opportunity and development for all of the younger guys, while also oozing in the older guys, especially guys that you have to have, with the reps that they need to get. And that's just kind of how it flows and works. And when you see them break up like that, it's about trying to get reps, and they do it for a condensed amount of time, but it's also the concepts that we're doing. And when you're able to have, here's our foundation base defense, here's our foundation base offense, and now we can get practice reps as opposed to guys just holding on a bag and still making it, competitive. That's what you want to see.
So there's a couple of schools of thoughts that you said. So as you take whole units and do 1s on 1s, you could do whole units, do 1s on 2s, 2s on 1s. You could split even
3s on 2s, 2s on 3s for sure.
Yeah, but you could split position groups even and go like first D line, second linebackers, first secondary. But here's the thing: when you've got a lot of guys who haven't played, you need leadership across the board. And so they've got a lot of young guys. Now, usually for the offensive line, you want to develop continuity and have those guys play together. That's the one position group, I'll say, Schlegs, where I was like, it's tough. Though I was behind the defense, so I couldn't get a look at like numbers of who was going back and forth the whole time. But what they did was fairly interesting. In O-line, it may have been different because of just you need to get used to playing beside people, or get used to playing beside a lot of people, and then you can be flexible. But they split like Sonny and Arvell. They split up, Jermaine and IGB. Like they split, they had like defensive end. I don't even have to look. I know Bo was on one field, Kenyatta was on another, Caden was on the field with Bo. Like they blended it all together. And I thought that was very interesting. And the offense was doing that too. Like Cardell was on one field, JJ was on another, and how they kind of moved all that around. And I thought it was really interesting that that's the way they did it. And I think as I looked, it made sense, because they were trying to separate leadership to make sure that you had guys on each field who knew what was going on, who could direct traffic, because you've got a lot of coaches now, more so than ever before. But even with that, like you need guys on the field who know what's up, who can help settle young guys in moments of peril, if you will.
Yeah. And that's, Bob, you hit the nail on the head. It's one of those things when you're going at practice in the landscape of everything. To me, it's especially early in camp. What are we trying to accomplish, and how do we go about that and doing it with intentionality, right? Being intentional. Because sometimes I think, man, there's a great thing in the chat. Brad Fleming's put something on there, Bob, that we got to talk about.
Well, by the way, I met Chris and his dad over. We'll get into that in a minute. But
sure. Good. But yeah, but Brad's a tailgate talk question about football teams and not track teams and conditioning and stuff. But to me, early in camp, we can't lose focus of what we're trying to accomplish every single practice. And if it's we are trying to get rep, we are trying to see where guys are, we're trying to build continuity, then every drill should be, designated for that mission and that mission alone. And then how do we want to set up the standard? I just say this, everything we do in strength conditioning, everything they do during the OTAs, it's 4 to 6 A to B plus 2. How do they finish? How many yards do they finish? Like you're looking for those things. You're looking for the guys that finish, that do everything right. Like that's kind of the foundation of what you're doing. And that's laid out in the first couple of days when you don't have the pads. And then once you put the pads on, now it's competitive excellence. Now it's run fits. How do you guys handle the physicality of the game of football? That's what you want to see. But you still got to be intentional. You're not going to be seeing, guys just running all freaking day during the practice, right? Like it's all structured for what we're trying to accomplish. And normally on these type of days, it's first down, right? It's the base package.
Oh, this is vanilla base. Yeah, vanilla bean ice cream, man. This is base stuff. This is, taking old folks to the MCL cafeteria. You got vanilla, you got
Lubies. Oh my gosh. And you guys got to remember this too. You had ball through spring, and you put in a lot of stuff to challenge their mental system more so than the physical system. And then you've had OTAs, and you've been walking through all the stuff you learned in spring, but you still have to go now, take all that you learned and reapply it to the field. And to your point, it's going to be very vanilla at the beginning of camp. But like I said, it has to be intentional.
It is. There's intentionality with it. And that's why they broke the guys up the way that they did. Brought them back together after they did some team period. And keep this in mind, folks, today. Everybody wants to see a lot. Like it's tough to see a ton, especially from the box players. You can see fits, you can see some things, but you're not going to be able to see you're not going to be able to really see a whole lot from the O-line and D-line just in the spiders and jerseys. Like they don't have shoulder pads on for the first 2 days, the acclimation period where they get settled in. So you're not seeing, like how, much push you get and all these different things. So it's a much, much different paradigm than maybe there was before and what there is normally during football. We've got some great questions that we'll get to during tailgate talk. Conditioning, as you talked about, Schlags. There is one about Edric Houston, but I thought it was a productive first day. Talking to some other members of the media, it looked like it was maybe a little bit sloppier than what they had thought. But I will say this: when you have a lot of first-year starters and you have young quarterbacks, there's going to be some misses, but there's also going to be some good things and some really good stuff. But there's going to be some misses. There's going to be lack of communication at times on offense or defense. Things are just going to be lost in translation. So yeah, some of those issues then you have to go and get remedied and get corrected. So that's all part of it. Go ahead.
I will say this, Bob, and here's the one thing I tell people all the time. You ain't winning any games July 31st, but you can lose them, right? And that's kind of the point. Like it's, what are we trying to get out of practice? Nobody cares that it might be a little sloppy, right? sudden change of being outside and going into inside. Who cares, right? We got to be able to adapt. All these things are good things. And that's like nobody needs to come out for the 2025 season on July 31st, the first day of camp, and be spot on. I don't want them to be spot on. I want them to learn and grow. I want to see the progression. That's what you want to see. How good you get from practice 1 to practice 2, just like how do you look in game 1 to game 2. All that matters, but I wouldn't worry about anything else.
But a growers versus showers situation right there.
I don't know, man. Girth and length, right? We'll have to throw in there.
We'll get to that. I mean, that's Hugh Freeze's thoughts, because when you play in a physical league, Schlegs, you need to be long and girthy as well. Want to throw this out here before we're going to break down the wide receivers today, talk a little bit about what they got going on, but also want to throw out this Seth McLaughlin. This is a big deal. Ohio State Center, Remington Award winner, the most recent national award winner for the Buckeyes. But some breaking news from him, courtesy of Scarlet and Gray podcast. The Bengals announced that former Buckeye Seth McLaughlin has been cleared and will begin practicing with the team. If you remember, the Wednesday, I believe, maybe Tuesday before Indiana, Seth tore his Achilles and has been battling that since then, trying to rehab it and get to a good spot. He appeared to be close. He'd been working with who we affectionately call Dr. Stu, PT Adam Stewart at Ohio State, and him and Sean Barnell, Solo, all the guys over there. Tyler doing a great job getting him fixed right up. And that's a pretty quick turnaround for a guy that, I think can end up growing into being a pretty darn good center in the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely, Bob. I'm really excited. I mean, he said it too when he was going through the draft process, and I thought he was the one guy that was going to get drafted that didn't, just because he's voted the best center in college football. And yeah, he's coming back from Achilles, but he's also an offensive lineman. It's just different when his position is not predicated upon speed like you would see from a defensive back. And I thought that somebody would have drafted him. But it's great that he can be out there because the Bengals sure do need him.
Absolutely. It'll be great. And it's developmental. This first season for him will probably be developmental. Maybe he could end up starting. I wouldn't imagine that now, but I think he's a guy that can grow into a player for him. And that year of development, Ohio State really, really helped. All right, we're going to get out of here, Slags. Before we get talking about the wide receivers, though, it's Thursday. Still a couple of days left to go register for our friends over at Export. Parents and athletes, protect what matters most with Export mouth guards trusted by professional athletes, designed by NHL team dentists. Export mouth guards are scientifically tested to help absorb those high-impact hits, protecting both your teeth and your brain. They feature 3 layers of advanced protection, including patented use of the carbon fiber. They 3D print that bad boy right to your grill for more protection, better performance, max comfort, and clear communication. Oh, you focus on your game, not on your gear. Don't take chances with your safety. Go visit the Armory on Saturday, August 2nd from 9 to noon. Receive 20% off using the code EXPORT20 when you schedule your appointment. My family, I told Court, get the appointment set. We're heading over there. We're getting the Export mouth guards. I know a couple folks that are coming over Slice for the open house to check it out. They're pretty darn.
And if you got kids that like basketball, they can come in. And Bob, I found this out for you because you asked me. Hey, they're gonna have basketball skills in the arena at 9, at 10, and 11. Like, go in there and play. We got Club Pilates coming doing Pilates over here. We got tours. We got water balls going out. Clean Eats is giving out free food. Boom. Yeah, exactly.
Buckeyes. It's what you want. What else you want is the wide receivers at Ohio State. Wide receiver U, Zone 6. What does it look like for them? We'll find out next.
Creative, experience, results. That's what drives growth. That's what builds brands. That's Lake Spur Marketing, a full-service agency built on trust, strategy, and performance, not fluff. From bold strategies to flawless execution, every campaign is rooted in smart planning and driven by clear goals. We don't chase clicks. We build partnerships. We show up, dig in, and deliver every single time. Lake Spur Marketing. The proof is in our partners.
All right, Schleich, talking a little bit about the wide receivers now. Wide receiver U, Brian Hartline came in here, and Zach Smith did a good job recruiting and bringing in guys and developing them. Brian worked with him a little bit, and then took that thing even to a higher level than where it was, and took some of the great players that Zach had recruited and made them even greater. And since then, the Buckeye wide receiver room has been rolling. It's multiple first-round draft picks, but Garrett Wilson winning offensive rookie of the year. Like, you've had a lot of unbelievable production from that group. And so with that, there's high expectations. And you have two returning starters in Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate, who are one's the second year, one's the third year. And then Brandon Ennis, who's expected to start in the slot, an absolute dog as a junior. So Schleichs, talk a little bit, because Jeremiah, we'll get to him in a moment. I mean, we'll bury the lead with it. Actually, maybe we won't. Jeremiah Smith, we'll start with him. I would say Bolitnikov, semifinalist, probably will be a finalist if he stays healthy. If he plays as well as we think, probably a Heisman Trophy finalist potentially as well. A lot of that depends on quarterbacks and everything else that's out there. But Schleichs, he's about 6'3", 225. Guy can run all the routes in the route tree. He's got really good top-end speed. He's ultra physical, ultra competitive, which is probably what sets him apart, is his ability to continually strain and desire to win everything. Quiet guy, good teammate, good hands. Only dropped one ball last year, was his first one thrown at him. So he has been as advertised as a player, and probably even more so as a dude.
Yeah, I don't even know where to go with him. I mean, guys, he's 225. He said it. Like, he bench pressed 225 20 times. He's 6'3". He's hyper mobile. Like, his shin angles for him to be able to accelerate. Like, I mean, it's like 2 steps and he's already at 5 yards. I mean, it's what do you want to do? Do you want to give him a cushion and not get beat deep? If he does, he's gonna accelerate, run on your toes, and then break back down. Like, that's an easy pitch and catch every single time. Like, what do you want to do defensively? Is it like, we just got to stop this guy, don't allow him to have a game, and then guess what? You have all the AYOs. But the thing that I love about Jeremiah Smith, besides the fact that he doesn't really talk, is that he's just ultra competitive. And to be an Iron Buckeye as a freshman, to be an Iron Buckeye then again as a sophomore year, and still like love. He might not necessarily even love to train because he's not going to say anything. But the fact that he knows that the training allows him to be at his best, and he's so consistent with it, is just something that separates him for a kid that's only a sophomore. I mean, he's 19 years old, for Pete's sake.
Does he like to train, you think? I mean,
I would say this. I don't think you love – I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like –
do something as hard as he does if you don't love it.
And that's what I'm saying. I think – and again, you don't know. Like, there's some people that love the outcome of what training allows you to do, and there's some people that just love to train. I would say this, from the work that they all put in, even when they leave the campus and even during discretionary, I think that he just loves putting in the work, and that's great, regardless of what the work is. I remember being in there, and he's just like running go routes to himself and hitting the thing, because like that's what Marvin Harrison Jr. did, right? So it was kind of like, boom, hit the button, go down and catch him, or somebody else is just there hitting the button, throwing them balls, and they would rotate, and he's just out there. Like, I think he just enjoys playing football and working on his craft, and the weight room and the training is just part of it.
So a couple third-year guys, Brandon Ennis and Carnell Tate. Carnell came in, probably not the biggest weight room guy. I used to joke, like, he reminded me like of a black version of Brian Hartline when he got here, 6'2", 6'3", like gangly, Gumby-ish, good in and out of his routes. Really good speed, maybe not like the fastest guy in the world, but really good speed, good athleticism, can get on top of you. But you've got to fall in love with training a little bit. Now, our guy Hart out there is like, boom, got a sleeve tat. I'm curling 45, 50s. Like, I look like a dude. I'm like 215 now or whatever he weighs. And I said, listen, man, hopefully you're inspired by your coach. But he's been taking that next step. He got a dude of the week, I want to say. And like, that's a big step for a guy that – so he probably wasn't the biggest weight room guy. Has overcome a lot of struggles. His mom, obviously, passing away early in his career at Ohio State. Like, there's a lot of reasons for him maybe to not want to be here, to like have fallen off in life. But he's a really good young man, and it's also not easy when you're expected to be the guy that as a sophomore going to be the starter, and some freshman comes in and you're still starting, but that guy is unbelievable. And he kind of overshadows everybody, Emeka included. And that's one of the great traits that Emeka possesses. Like, hey, I don't care, man. I'm here to win. I'm here to help you. But for Carnell to be able to do that, like, what are you expecting from him in his second full season now as a starter?
I mean, I just look at the effort that he gives when he's blocking it. And he said it multiple times too. It's regardless of who gets the ball, I have a job to do. And we saw that. There was the Northwestern game. Oh my goodness, there was another game where I think he had some
really
yards
big against Northwestern. He had and you had to imagine he's a Chicago kid going home, playing at Wrigley, and you know how that goes from the NFL and Ryan coaching. They're like, we're going to feature our guy. You going home, you got 40 tickets for all your family. We're going to give you an opportunity. He had a great touchdown catch, if I'm not mistaken, in that game, didn't he, Schlegs?
I think so. And if you look at last year, guys, we're talking about a guy that if you were looking at that with a senior, a freshman, and a sophomore, okay, you would probably think, okay, it's going to go senior, sophomore, freshman. But Jeremiah Smith kind of came out of nowhere, and we knew what he was capable of. But the man still racked up 52 catches and 733 yards. As you would look at that, quote unquote, the number 3 guy. And that's the thing. He's not a number 3. He's a number 1. It's just the fact that Ohio State has all number 1s. It's just where they are. And again, we're going to push the issue to get somebody open. He's going to make plays. This year is a huge year for him because people are understanding what Jeremiah Smith is. And now you got Maxie Claire there and you got Brandon Ennis there. It's like, what do you want to do when you have 4 guys and 11 personnel that can actually take the top of a defense? And who are you going to guard? What do you want to take away? Who do you want to bracket? What does that do? That helps the run game. And when it helps the run game, what do our wide receivers got to do? Block. And then, okay, we're going to take away the run? All right, but now we open. And that's when the big plays happen. Dude averaged over 14 yards a catch last year. He had 4 touchdowns. Opportunities didn't necessarily present himself, but he still had a phenomenal sophomore season. And he comes in, he weighs more than 191. And we're talking about 2 guys in Jeremiah Smith and Carnell. Guys, these guys are all, we say fast, they're all high 22, low 23, maybe mid, 23 miles an hour. That's fast. Just letting you guys know, they can do it, man. They are bona fide dudes. I'm expecting a big year out of them.
Bona fide.
Along with the next one that you're going to talk about, the little pit bull tattoo on the stomach.
I mean, Brandon Ennis versus Jermaine Matthews, Schlegs. Who the pit bull? 2 pit bulls fighting.
2 pit bulls. They should have matching tats of pit bulls coming out of their stomach, and they're kind of different because Brandon's a little bit more serious than Jermaine. Jermaine always has a smile, but Brandon will get Brandon reminds me a lot more of a Mecca, but just a little bit grimier. Emeka was just kind of like an elder statesman, super polished, just handled his business. Brandon's like that, but just a little grimier, And then Jermaine is just this, smiling all the time. It's awesome. It's fun to watch. And then you got Bob. Talk about the young guys that you have.
Before we get to the young guys, I want to talk a little bit more about Brandon because we really give him, his just due. And what's amazing, Schlegs, is you guys measure everything. Dr. Dan over there measures it all. And they have these scatter spiderweb plots that show speed and agility, explosiveness, and all these different things that they measure. And dude, you have Jeremiah, who's the outer rim of everything, pretty much.
He's an outlier.
Yeah, he's outlier. You got Carnell, who's fat. They've got some people have some outliers, some deficiencies. And what's amazing about Brandon is, and I honestly, I love this about him because it's the greatest compliment I think you could give him. It's he's just a pure grinder. Where he works his butt off in the weight room, that, Schlegs. He trains hard, drills hard. He's not really exceptional in anything. He's kind of just middle of the road, inner loop, not bad at stuff, just into the good, but never really exceptional. And despite all of that, maybe his quote physical deficiencies, he's one of the best dudes with the ball in his hand and setting guys up for routes because he's a competitor and he understands the game. So those little scoring systems and all that stuff, that's going to tell you a little bit, and it'll tell you the physical attributes of someone, but it's never going to tell you what exactly they are as a player. And that's the difference. That's what's amazing. It's almost there's no measurement for heart and dedication right now. There's no way to do it because Brandon Ennis projects those in spades. He is a tough dude who's a little undersized, who's quicker than fast, who's just tough, understands leverage and everything else, and just always gets open. And he's a really hard guy to bring down. And Schlegs, remember last year you saw him blocking. Like he's a dude that you can give him a lot of opportunities to do different things because he's going to do them all with the fire of 1,000 suns. How you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah.
He's all about it.
Brendan Ennis is the epitome of that chop wood, carry water, in that the process, like loving the process because the process sets you up for success at the next test. Like that's Brandon Ennis to a T. And you got to have grimy guys like that in a room where guys are exceptional in other areas because Brandon is your fit guy. Like whatever it is, he might be the guy that's open on that play, but he's also might be the guy that's the lead blocker on the very next play. It doesn't matter. Just call it. Just call it, and he's going to run it to the very best of his ability. And that is so good to have a guy like that Brian Hartline. And the cool thing about Brian in this room and what he's done, and I'm talking, and you mentioned, man, Zach Smith did a great job of recruiting elite talent at Ohio State at the wide receiver position that was not necessarily there before he got there in Urban. And Hart is continuing to do that.
It was the little dude, Schlegs, number 2 from DeSoto that was there with you.
Oh, yeah.
Same with it started with a D, I want to say.
Oh, man, it's you. It started with a T. All right, I'm going to look him up on my phone. I'll just type in DeSoto. It's Trey. DeSoto. Jeez. Why is it not on? I think it was Trey. I don't know why I'm missing. But he was kind of like going to be like the Percy Harvin. But the thing, again, let's go back to Brandon. The best thing about that Hart has, and he has great examples within the room of being able to point out and compliment.
Dontre Wilson. Thank you.
I called him Trey.
Yeah.
Dontre. Yeah.
Old dog
Anyways,
Trey.
Old dog Trey. But he has great examples from a lot of different areas of like super gifted in this area, absolute grinder. And what does that look like even to be able to say that? Then you have these younger guys there. Like, guys, this is just how we do it in this room. That's awesome. That's just such a great luxury that he's afforded himself through the recruiting process and also development. And it went back all the way to like Terry McLaurin is the same type of mentality. Not great at any one thing, but good at a lot of things.
Yep.
And he is a number 1 receiver in the NFL. That's just a fact.
Yep. He's got some pretty good speed. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and talk about that next group. Who are the probably 2 or 3 guys who could be sliding on in there that could make a difference in this Buckeye passing attack? Easy for me to say. Stay tuned, and we'll give you all that information here on the Bobby Carpenter Show. All right, welcome back into the Bobby Carpenter Show, Schlegs, and we've got a couple other guys in here that are pretty good, that are dogs. Now, you got redshirt freshman Mylan Graham, who's been here for a year, redshirt sophomore Bryson Rogers, who got in the portal a couple of years back, maybe last spring, but decided to stay. Those are kind of the 3 guys listed next in the depth chart. They also have Philip Bell, to Zay Jones, David Adolph, who Hart loves working in there, who's pretty physical as well, and Bod Penn Miller, who was a true freshman from Northeast Ohio that's got some work, a little raw, played quarterback in high school, but very long, athletic. Dude's a remarkable leaper. Watching him jump to doing the vertical stuff was crazy with what he is able to get done. But I think one of the guys that people are really going to like is Mylan Graham, Schlegs. He didn't come in last year until right before camp. Yeah, he wasn't 100%. Able to do the summer and all this. And explain to him how big that is.
Well, guys, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I used to be a big proponent of, finish out your senior year. Like, why do you got to rush in there and like go to college? And there's just no way of replicating January through June. You can't. It is like a full-on saturation submerging into the culture and being able to witness how the upperclassmen or the standard is, like how they work, how they handle their business, just getting that part in along with spring football and being able to compete, man, it matters a lot. And it kind of sets you up for what you're going to do in camp. And then when you come in July, you're only there for 3 weeks now. And then you're off because you have July 4th weekend, which is extended. And then you have 5 days before camp. So you really only have truly 3 weeks of training. And then you're right in. And there's no way of replicating what you do at Ohio State where they are. So they're automatically behind the 8 ball. And I thought he did a very nice job during that season of developing, but it just puts you behind the 8 ball. And man, there's a lot of comparison between him and Chris Olave, or no, Garrett Wilson, yes, I should say, because they're both wearing 5, the way they run routes. Mm-hmm. And again, he's a redshirt freshman, like he redshirted last year, but he did get that time. So it kind of delayed the impact that he could potentially have. But he is a guy that can do a lot of things because of his physical ability and his stature.
Oh, yeah, he's got good speed, but very it's interesting, kind of light on his feet. Like you see, like him and Garrett, he gets in and out of his breaks good. Maybe not.
I say stature, not like he's 6'3", 6'4".
Biggest body guy.
But it allows him to do certain things that Garrett was able to do. And that's the point. They're all a little bit different.
Get in and out of its breaks. All receivers are different, man. Like tall, shorter, thick, thin, accelerator guys, great top end guys, great agility guys. Like there's just different elements of them, and they've got to make sure they build their game and try to fill it out as best they can. But they're going to have strengths and they're going to have some weaknesses. So Mylan Graham is someone I think you're going to be really proud, really impressed with this year's Slags, with what he's able to do, the dancing around the water. He gets on top of guys, made some plays in the spring, and curious to see if he can make some more here this fall.
I'm going to say one more thing. Actually, it's two. One, I really appreciate Bryson Rogers. I don't know, obviously, how much playing time he's getting. He's a redshirt sophomore, but here's a guy that could have transferred out, and he's getting developed, man. And, like, you never know how it's going to play out or when you're going to get your opportunity. And he's a worker, man. I saw him just show up and just work every single day. And I am excited because everybody talked about it coming out of the spring of Quincy Porter. I'm excited to see another freshman like him and what he's able to do, because I heard some really good things. And he is a longer guy. He's 6'4", 200-something pounds. So excited to see what he can do in camp as well.
Bergen Catholic guy, 6'4", 205, like huge frame dude, man. I was like, man, who is 11 out there? Because I had forgotten. But he is a big dude. The 11 like makes him look even longer. But he did a good job bodying guys, getting in there, being able to make plays. So I think those are going to be your next 3 up. I think you would have saw more out of Mylan Graham last year, just the function Slags, that like him coming in late. Like it's really hard. It's really hard to kind of get in there and make your mark. And especially when you have Jeremiah Smith already there, like it's tough to get 2 different freshmen work, especially you had Brandon Ennis and Emeka and everything. But I do agree with you with Bryson Rogers, of him staying, what he means, like leadership-wise. He's been in the program. He understands it. They're going to rotate him, get him in there, some with Ennis. But he's a very good player. It's just a function of this is the most competitive room that you're going to find probably in the United States, with everybody they bring in and guys wanting to play and what they need to do to get on the field. It's like there's zero room for error, so you got to go out there and compete. The one thing I will throw out there too before we get out of here is it was hilarious. They not hilarious. It's funny because everything's good, but they start throwing those deep balls and guys are falling down and you hear, stay up. Like the last thing you want is dudes die. Like you want them to play hard and laying out, but you don't want, DBs diving across receivers' legs and everything else. But, they get chippy, they get physical. Everybody's excited for camp, so it's going to be tough to sometimes hold that back. I want to tell you about our friends over at Backer Schlags. Brand new Buckeye gear, bckr.com. Premium Buckeye jackets for premium Buckeye fans. They have hats, but the winter today would have been a great day over at practice to have the rain jacket. The rain came out of nowhere, Slags, to keep you nice and dry.
It tucks itself into its own little bag, right, Bob?
Yeah, the windbreaker, you can flip inside out and roll it back up into a bag that's like this big. Like you can just like and it's got a little carabiner, so you just clip it right on your belt, so you're ready to go at a moment's notice. Always gas station ready when you've got the backer, which is good. Lots of features, just like the one that you mentioned, all kinds of doodads and whatchamacallits on there. Like, wow, it does this, it does that. It's got everything. Use promo code all caps BOBBY at checkout for free expedited shipping. And a portion of the proceeds goes back to the Ohio State NIL, which is great. That's backer, BCKR.com. Check them out. We've got some headline schlags that are coming up next and some good things that are happening around the world of football. Maybe we'll dive into a watch list. Maybe we'll dive into Hugh Freeze. Who knows? Who knows? We'll have enough time. Coming up next here on the Bobby Carpenter Show.
Creative, experience, results. That's what drives growth. That's what builds brands. That's Lake Spur Marketing, a full-service agency built on trust, strategy, and performance, not fluff. From bold strategies to flawless execution, every campaign is rooted in smart planning and driven by clear goals. We don't chase clicks. We build partnerships. We show up, dig in, and deliver every single time. Lake Spur Marketing. The proof is in our partners.
All right, welcome back into the Bobby Carpenter Show, and we're to our headlines brought to you, our friends Schlags over at Lake Spur Marketing. Lake Spur Marketing is a full-service ad agency built on trust, on strategy, and most importantly, on performance. From digital ad placement to broadcast buys, everything in between, the creative, they're helping you get it done. Lake Spur, they've got it covered. At Lake Spur Marketing, there isn't some set it and forget it strategy, some boilerplate program they roll out to everybody. All their tactics are customized to your industry and your personal needs. Leave the marketing to them so you can do what you do best, which is run your business. Lake Spur Marketing, the proof is in their partners. Visit lakespurmarketing.com today. All right, Schlegs, we had a Buckeye. Played well. I believe he won a Remington as well, if I'm not mistaken. Former center, they always announce the Hall of Fame inductions. And like some of our guys, AJ, Mangold, Nuge, Troy, there's a lot of guys who we played with who are in there. Great to see this out of Trumbull County. I thought he won the Remington because didn't they win it back to back?
He did. He won the Remington.
Yeah, so two-time All-American. Billy Price will be one of 10 inductees in the Ohio State Athletics Hall of Fame. So pretty big deal there for our guy Billy.
Yeah, awesome. Just had a second kid. Billy, a guy that ended up playing guard and then moved over to center, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe he took over. Let's see, Bob. I'm looking him up, man, because I've hit a lot of people. Billy Price, years at Ohio State.
I thought he took over for Elfline, or maybe he won the 2017 Remington.
Yeah. I think Pat was before him, and it was kind of the same situation because I think it might have been the Apex, Corey Lindsley, and then Pat came in, was a center, and then Billy was a guard, and then Billy came over and was the center. And it was kind of like that. There was a couple of rotations like that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Elfline won it in 2016. So, yeah, he took over for Corey, and then he slid on. And those guys always kind of just slid on over. They did the
you know what? No, it went Corey, it went Boren, it went Pat. That's what it was. Yeah. Corey, Apex. Boom. Corey, Boren, Pat.
Yeah, because Boren was on the national championship team.
Exactly. Yeah, the Apex was not.
Yeah. There you go. So, Buckeyes, big deal, man. Great to see that for him. Very, very excited to kind of see what he was able to do there. And like you said, just had a second kid.
They do, man.
Pretty solid pro career. We also have this. They've got the watch list that come out, Schlags, and I don't know why they have it other than for us to talk about it. But they've got the Bronco Nagurski watch list, which I think that's what James won, correct? It's for the best defensive player. Like, they've got all these different awards. But two guys on the watch list here, Pat, when you throw that up. Two of the returning starters, Caleb Downs and Sonny Styles. Both, I think, will have a chance to potentially win. I would have to say Caleb Downs is probably the front runner right now for it.
I can see that. It's the best. Here's what it is. It's the best defensive player in all of college football, right? So you have like the Buckets, right? I saw a thing about a linebacker at Wisconsin's up for the Buckets, right? Sonny's going to be up for the Buckets. Like that's for linebackers. This is literally the Bronco Nagurski, best defensive player in college football. Right now, probably front runner. I don't look at betting odds, but I would say it probably is Caleb Downs. And he is.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
James was the first ever sophomore to win it way back in 06.
I think he won it and not won the Buckets.
Yeah, he never won the Buckets. He never won the Buckets, and I don't think he ever won the Lombardi. AJ's the last guy I think we've had to win the Lombardi. We had a nice run there with Pace and Spielman and Stillwagon, number of guys to win that one as well. But first ever sophomore, James was to win that award. I thought Chase Young won it as well, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not positive in that. 100 tackles, 5 picks, 4 sacks in 2006 in his sophomore year. Like you said, never unfortunately won that elusive Buckus award. One other nugget. Yeah, Chase did win it in 2019, Schleiks. Boom. Like I walk in that hallway and I see all that stuff. I just absorb all that information, all of the legends. And you're over there in the chat. We're going to have time to get to all our chatters here in a minute because we got our tailgate talk coming up next, brought to you by our friends at Real Truck. Oh, man, the people in the chat are great. It's our tailgate talk brought to you by our friends at Real Truck Schleiks. And this is amazing that Steely Matt said AJ got hosed by Paul Puslesny, Schleiks' dude. In 2005, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, I know. I remember. Great dude. Really good linebacker. I totally forgot about that. And again, somebody else mentioned like Remington LaCharles, I think, was the first one. That's what they said. And LaCharles was and is still a bona fide dude. Like, guy looks like he can still play. If he didn't have a freaking staph infection when he was in the league, like that guy could have easily been a Hall of Famer in the NFL because just a straight up alpha dog.
I do want to give a shout out to our guy, Chris. I met him and his dad today, who's normally in the chat, chatting it up. He drove in from Pittsburgh. His dad lives over in Springboro. They came in for the game. Or practice. His dad's 88 years old. So that was pretty sweet. Another big question in here, Schleiks, that you put up at the top from Brad Flemings. If you want to post that, Patty, it's up near the top.
I put it in there.
Yeah, you threw it in there. This drives me crazy, but let me get your fellas' opinion. My son's high school football team doesn't do conditioning, says that they're a football team, not a track team. You are the resident strength coach, Schleiks. So I want to hear your thoughts on how to blend like conditioning during practice where you run on, run off, high tempo, but also probably getting a little ancillary stuff on the side.
Well, I mean, first off, like if you look at what is the demands of our sport, right? It normally lives the ATP. It goes like ATP, anaerobic, and aerobic, but football is 4 to 6 A to B. Anaerobic's around 10 seconds. Like that's the stuff that you got to live in. That's acceleration. It's a game of acceleration. How many times can you accelerate? Oh, I break it down. If you look at a wide receiver's route, you accelerate, decelerate, reaccelerate, catch the ball when you decelerate and then reaccelerate. Like normally it's like 5, right? And there's different things for DBs. Those are the qualities that you want. Now, I am anti-conditioning at the end of practice, and here's why. Kids save up to condition because they don't want to be called out. So what do you do at Ohio State? This is what I absolutely love. We condition in the warm-up. The warm-up tempo is in and of itself 540 yards, and it can also go longer. And all those sprints are within 20 to 10 yards every single time. So you build in your conditioning at the beginning of practice. And then as you practice, you run from drill to drill. Every time you run off the field, you got to run off the field +2. You're getting in yardage that way. There is no walking. So the practice itself should dictate the conditioning to what you're trying to accomplish. And so the thing was like, we're not a track team. It's a terrible excuse. You just got to be, what I said earlier, intentional. Everything is about intent. So how you structure that practice is what you do. So again, do we condition at Hastings Middle School? Yeah, the kids ran yesterday. Guess what? I'm the official intern coach.
It's not my program. I don't care. I'm going to encourage. But guess what? When we run off the field, like, hey, we're working. We're getting reps. That's why. What else are they doing when they're running multi-field? People, they're getting conditioning in.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't want to see them practicing when they feel perfect. I want to see them practicing when they're fatigued.
You know,
That's how you play the game.
The amazing thing is, Schlegs, is that the defense always runs to the offense for some reason. I never really understood that. And it was always
because he's an offensive coach. Tress was an offensive coach, right? I'm wondering.
Red zone, down at the offense. I'm like, oh, great. So we get the 80-yard run. Oh, first team, hop out in there. Like, oh, great. Yeah, I just did a 80-yard, like 70%.
We're going full competition, ones on ones. Spot the ball, move the ball, move it. Guys, this is the best. Short story. Bob, I think I'm the one that got kicked out of practice at this point because Jay was just talking to all the kids in there. I used to get kicked out when I transferred. Remember that, Bob?
Yeah.
Like, Bulls would kick me out because I would just try to dominate on offense. But Bob would, Tress would move the field, and Bob would literally pick up the football and move it back because our offense wasn't moving it on us. And again, not about you, Bob, or about the defense, but it was about what the offense was trying to do on their script. And Bob would just move it back. And unfortunately for me, I would get looked at as the guy. I don't know how God did this to me. I'm the guy that has to talk the common sense into Bob as to why they're doing it. And then he would get pissed. And I would actually understand his pissiness because it's not right. They haven't moved it. They haven't gained an inch.
I told Tressie, why are we practicing 2nd and 3s? How often are we in that? Put it 2nd and 8 because that's what it was. Oh, that was a sack. Now it's 3rd and 13, not 3rd and 1. It wasn't.
Can you guys just imagine 20-year-old guy talking to Trussell about that? Like, just common sense on, like, that's what Sam does. Like, Sam literally would say the exact same, like, this is stupid. Why are we doing this? Like, that's what
it was, I know.
So I look back with this fondness of all of those discussions, and people are just like, look at me. I'm the one to talk to this Neanderthal, to talk to him. Okay, I'm that guy.
Well, then plus it would be like 3rd and 3. And they jump up. We'd have an false start.
We'd jump off sides. Like,
and
Bob would literally take the ball and walk it back to 3rd and 8. And then Nick would go up and get the ball and put it back at 3rd and 3. And Bob would just be like standing there and then run the play. And you got Hancock and Fickle. And they're just all looking at him. And they all look at me to say something to him. I was like, I agree with them.
I know.
But I'm also just trying to do my job at the same time. It's so funny, man.
Job.
Well, it's so funny, guys.
Trying to give you realistic situations. It's not all going to be sunshine and rainbows, okay?
And that was the difference, guys. Like, when we were playing our offense, like, they did not move or win a lot. And it's like, I agree with Bob's point. It's different. Like, this offense is so dynamic.
Yeah.
But it was just like, why are you giving this false sense of reality? Like, they're actually doing a good thing when we're just going to go out there and 3. I mean, I go back and I look at the Penn State game when Penn State had 171 total yards and basically 3 them out of the entire second half, and we lost 17-10. Yes, am I still bitter? 100%. But anyways, I digress.
All right, that's it for Tailgate Talk. I've got some parting thoughts because I've got a great story about this stuff as well coming up next. All right, closing out the Bobby Carpenter show here, Schlegs, talking about doing foolish things. And I remember our junior year, Schlegs, we didn't have a lot of depth and trying to make a push at the end of the season. Tress came. He didn't go to you because he was just lucky that you were on punt as the personal protector. But AJ and I were on punt, and he's like, hey, can you guys get on kickoff? And he's like, you being on kickoff is going to help them have a longer field to drive so that you'll have more room to defend. That was his pitch to us. He's like, this is good for you. I'm like, yeah, coach, I have to run 80 yards beforehand. Then I'm going to be more tired, like more fatigued. I did a lot as a sophomore. Like as a junior, you were expecting more out of me. Like we don't have Will Smith up there anymore. I'm trying to be more of a dude. And I remember then his follow-up, I didn't say all of that. I was like, okay, coach. All right. He goes, listen, he goes, you get one kickoff every game. He goes, we're probably going to only have 2 or 3 more anyway. And I remember looking over at AJ and looking back at Tress, like, hold on. So you're telling me you think we're only going to score 2 or 3 times in the game? Is that what we're settling? Is that what we're settling? Hey, don't worry, Bob. We're not going to do. He's like, and Nuge will probably kick touchbacks on at least half of them. I'm like, I walked out of there. I was more depressed than anything I'd ever been. I'm like, so you want us to basically hold them to 10 points because that's the goal since we're trying to score like 13 to 14, maybe 17 points in the game. Great stuff. Conditioning test tomorrow, Schlags. I'll see you out there in the morning. We'll be back at it with more stuff from Buckeye Training Camp. Thank you for tuning into this edition of the Bobby Carpenter Show.